Hello and welcome to our second ever episode of Explaining to My Roommate. I once again am Reagan,
And I'm Easton.
and we are
Yay!
roommates. So, for those who didn't listen to our last episode, stop right now and go and listen to our first episode.
Where I talk about the plot and the main characters of Dragon Age Origins
Perfect.
poorly.
This episode, it is now my turn to go. I get to talk about my very first hyperfixation. And just a little recap, I'm going to do my explaining, and then at the end of the episode, I am going to ask Easton some questions about what they've learned.
I already have outlines for my notes. I'm really scared.
It'll be fine.
I'm gonna fail this.
It'll all be fine. We'll see what happens. Okay, so today, my topic of discussion for y'all is BTS. So, little backstory. I got into BTS, I want to say it was towards the end of 2020. So I want to say November almost. And for those of you who know, the first interaction I had with BTS was the James Corden carpool karaoke. And when I tell you, that is probably what a majority of newer ARMY's first introduction to BTS was. And it's a really great video. I do recommend going and watching it. I'm not a huge fan of James Corden, however, I do really enjoy that video.
Did you hear that story about his wife on the plane?
I did not.
He ignored his wife while she was taking care of their crying baby on a plane for hours. Anyway.
And this is why I don't like James Corden.
Anyways,
so BTS. BTS is a K-pop group, which stands for Korean Pop. They are from South Korea, and they consist of 7 members. So, of the 7 members, I'm going to, at first, I'm going to give a little outline for how this episode's going to go, because I do know in the future there are some other things BTS related that I want to talk about. So, for example, I will be doing individual episodes for each member, because they all do a bunch of solo work that I want to give them the opportunity to have their own episode. So in this episode, I'm going to be discussing kind of how BTS started, and then I'm going to go over a little bit of their discography. However, there is also some lore involved within their discography, and that will also be discussed on a later date. Anyways, okay, so we have 7 members. First member is RM, Kim Namjoon. He is the leader of BTS. He's a main rapper, and he is one of the producers. He writes quite a bit of their music and is really good at it. Then, moving on to going by age. So, Jin, Kim Seokjin, he is a vocal member. He is the oldest member of BTS, so therefore he is the hyung to everybody. I'll explain what that means in a little bit. After Jin, with the second oldest, is going to be Suga, Min Yoongi. He is a rapper, and he is also one of the producers of their music, who also helps write and create their music. Then we have J-Hope, Jung Hoseok. He is a rapper, also a part of helping produce music for BTS, and he is the dance captain. So he's in charge of making sure when they do their performances that they look clean and sharp, and making sure everybody understands the choreography. Little fun fact about J-Hope, he is my bias. He's my favorite member, and he's just great. So, in age-wise, we already talked about him. So after J-Hope would be RM. He is the 4th oldest member, but we already discussed him. So now those first 4 are going to be our Hyung line. And I know I'm saying that word wrong. I didn't disclose that. This would be a great time to disclose this. I'm really bad at speaking Korean words. I'm very bad at speaking English words. So please do not fault me for anything that I say incorrectly in this episode. Shut up. If y'all didn't hear that, Easton is making fun of me because I'm from the South. So I can't say English words right either. So anyways, so we have the Hyung line, which is made up of the oldest members. So Hyung is I don't want to say term of endearment, but it means older. Typically, if it's a male addressing a male, it's going to be like older brother of sorts. Now we move on to the last 3 members of BTS. We have Jimin, Park Jimin. He's a part of the vocal line, so he's a singer. Then we have V, Kim Taehyung. He's also a part of the vocal line. And then finally, we have our youngest member, who's the maknae of the entire group, Mr. JK, Jun Jungkook. So, those last 3 members are a part of the maknae line, which are the 3 youngest members. And then we have JK, who is, whereas Jin was the Hyung of the entire group, we have JK, who is the maknae of the entire group. Okay. So now that we've discussed a little bit about the members, we are going to go into a more in-depth about the group as a whole. So, before we talk about debut, BTS is under Big Hit Entertainment originally. However, a few years ago, I want to say 2021, they were transformed into what is now Hybe Entertainment. However, it's kind of one of those, Big Hit is kind of its own entity amongst Hybe Entertainment. But Big Hit Entertainment was founded in 2005 by Bang PD, and when starting BTS, he was originally looking for like a hip-hop group, and that's what his goal for the group was. However, as you know, BTS did progress, they did move in a more diverse genre. They have a lot of different like versions of their song, not versions, but like different themes. Some of them are like slower, some of them are like very K-pop songs. You have some like
remixes?
Not quite remixes.
Okay.
I guess genre would be the best word.
Okay. Different. Okay.
Easton is frantically writing notes.
It's a little bit of a mess.
It's all good. Anyways, so when it comes to Big Hit, it was around the time that BTS was being created. Big Hit Entertainment was a really small organization.
Okay.
So wasn't very known, didn't really have any artists under its labels. I believe they had a few solo idols, but hadn't really had like a super successful group. At the time, so around 2010, which is when BTS was beginning its production, there were what was called the 3 like major K-pop companies. Okay. So you had YG Entertainment, you had JYP Entertainment, and you have SM Entertainment. So those were considered the like big dogs of K-pop. So coming from a smaller organization that not very many people knew, BTS definitely faced a lot of like hardships because they were not seen as being powerful. Yeah. Anyways, so that's kind of the idea of where BTS is from. And then a little bit more about BTS itself. BTS stands for Bulletproof Boy Scouts, which is translated to the Korean name I Bangtan Sonyeondan. That is so bad. That is very not well pronounced. Anyways, but they have a fandom name which is Army, and it kind of goes together. You got the Bulletproof Boy Scouts and you got their army behind them.
I see.
And so it works together.
I did always wonder where Army came from. Okay.
It works. Now that I've discussed kind of like the separation of like age-wise for how the members are a part of BTS, we have that's not exactly the order they joined in. So I will tell you the like order that they came in, and I'm going to give you like a little bit of background about the members, but like I said, I am going to be going into more depth about each member at a later date. However, so the first member to ever join BTS, and Bang PD kind of centered the entire group around the talent of RM. So
that's why he's the leader.
That's why he's the leader. His name is RM. It was originally stood for Rap Monster. That was his stage name. However, he did change it later in life for it to mean Real Me, I think is what I read somewhere. Anyways, he is a rapper and a songwriter. He also records and produces, and his like main genre is hip hop and R&B. So that's the aspects he kind of brings into the group itself. And he was the first one to join. Next, we have my man J-Hope. I love him. He was the second to join, and he is also kind of that hip hop R&B genre as well. He is also a rapper, songwriter, and a producer. And he is a really good dancer. So, if I can remember specifically, he either won an award or he made it super far in an audition, and I want to say for JYP Entertainment. So, like, he was being headhunted as a dancer in one of the main three K-pop communities. Unfortunately, I don't believe it panned out like he wanted to. But that's okay because now he's in BTS.
Yeah, it seems like it worked out for the best for him.
Worked out for the best. So the next member to join was Jin. He is more of like the like regular K-pop, very poppy, and he does a lot of ballads. He's got a beautiful voice and just belts out notes, and it's wonderful. One part about Jin that's actually really cool is he was just found on the street.
Damn.
Someone from Big Hit saw him on the street and was like, "That's a beautiful man. Can you sing?" And took him in, and that's how he came up with, literally. He was actually studying to be an actor at the time. Like he was
wanted to be in those K-dramas.
Yeah, he was working to become an actor. So he came after J-Hope. Then, oh my gosh, I realized I read my notes wrong. Suga came after RM. So we're gonna pretend like
my whole notes are messed up now. Oh my, okay, well, oh.
I apologize. Any army out there that's listening to me, please don't hate me. I just can't read my names properly.
I mean, we're just kind of sitting here talking to each other.
We
It's
are.
not.
It's not that deep. Anyways, okay, so sorry, RM. And then next was Suga. You know, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Anyways, okay, so we got Suga. He also is hip hop and R&B. So a rapper, songwriter, producer. And he is really good at playing the piano.
Okay,
Yeah.
piano. On those keys, the piano man.
Piano man. So just to recap, we got RM, we got Suga, we got J-Hope, we got Jin. After Jin, we have our maknae, JK, who was only, I believe, 13 when he started training to become a part of BTS. He is a singer-songwriter. He does vocals. He does a lot of pop. He does rap. It's really funny, some of their like earlier things that they did performance-wise and song-wise. You can hear Jungkook rapping, and it's really cute because funny thing, when he was first debuting, so he was probably like 14, 15, he had these really big doe eyes. And he just looked like a cute little baby, and it's really fun. Anyways, so after JK, we have V, who was our second to last member to debut. He is a singer, and he, I want to say, is definitely like more diverse from what I've noticed personally in my listening experience. He can do the R&B really well. He can do indie pop. He can do regular pop. He's got a beautiful jazz voice. He kind of has a lot of diversity within his vocal cords. And yeah. So finally, our last member of BTS to join was Mr. Jimin himself. He, first of all, he went to school, to a dance school. He's a beautiful dancer, does beautiful contemporary moves. Figured I'd put that in there just because it's really, really fun to watch. Anyways, he's also a singer, and he does pop and alternative R&B almost. But he also has like a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
It's also just gorgeous, period. They're all just gorgeous. Anyways, so now that I've kind of touched on the members, I think that's kind of where I'm going to leave it for them, because I am going to go into more depth. I think this is the third time I've brought this up, where in those episodes I will be discussing their solo work and kind of stuff that they do personality-wise. But now I'm going to go into kind of like the debut. So, BTS debuted June 12th, 2013. And the song that they performed was called No More Dream. It is from the mini album Too Cool for School, which also, during their they also performed twice in this, I want to say it was a television show. I can't remember what it was called. But most of the time when you debut, you get one slot with one song, and you're done.
They have two.
So they were able to have two. Their second song that they did was We Are Bulletproof. And it was kind of fun. So at this point, they debuted as a hip-hop group, as we've learned. And that's kind of the theme that their first couple albums had. And what we'll learn later on is didn't have too much success in that category. It was kind of on and off. But I will say, we'll get into a little bit later, but the song that really catapulted their career was I Need You. It's a part of the album The Most Beautiful Moments in Life, Part 1. And we will go into more depth about that when we cover their discography. Anyways, some fun facts that I feel like we should discuss. one of the very first awards that they ever won was in 2013, the year that they debuted. And they did win New Artist of the Year. And then, if I'm remembering correctly, they didn't win very many awards until 2016, which is the year that I Need You blew up. They won Album of the Year, which was a super big thing. It's actually really cute if you watch their like reaction to realizing they've won, because you can tell they weren't expecting to win, like, period. But yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's any more else I want to cover on their introduction. I think that's the most I wanted to talk about. I'm kind of trying to avoid not talking too much about certain things because I will be discussing in later episodes. But one more thing is they are known for their performances, especially their live performances. They have great choreography and they are super in sync with each other. So they have great stage presence and they work together really well on stage. Fun fact, Bang PD lied to Suga. He was like, Suga's like, I don't want to dance. I don't dance. And Bang PD was like, don't worry, you're not going to dance. You're not going to do that. And he lied. They are known for their dances and the intensity of their dances. And yeah, so now I'm going to discuss a little bit. Well, I say a little bit. We're probably going to spend quite a good amount of time talking about their discography. Their discography. So,
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to spell discography.
Discography is how you spell it.
I
That's
just
how
wrote disc.
That's so fair. That's how I pronounce it in my head, is discography. Because I will not be able to pronounce it correctly if I don't. Anyways, so
before we go over to that, I just want to share a fun fact. Apparently, my bias is JK. I just thought everyone should know that. I was watching a video with Reagan, and I watched him push over another member of BTS, and I was like, I like that guy.
You want to know who we pushed over?
Was it your favorite?
Yes.
Was it your... I'm sorry, your bias.
I don't even remember which video it was.
I don't know either.
But it was 100% JK pushing J-Hope of some sort, and Easton was like, that's my favorite.
That one right there.
Anyways, so I kind of have... So there's definitely lore that comes involved with this, but each like set of albums or mini albums is kind of set up between different years and different eras per se. So the numbers that I found, which I actually didn't fact check these numbers, so nobody attack me, but we got 9 studio albums, we have 8 mini albums, we have 8 compilation albums, which typically consist of taking those mini albums and combining them, either 2 mini albums together and then adding new songs, or taking that mini album and adding more songs to it, and then 12 single albums. So the first era we're going to talk about is 2013 to 2014, which is their first year, their debut, you would say. So as we discussed, their first, I believe it's a mini album, was Too Cool for School, with their title track of No More Dream, which we discussed. And then we move on to their next album, which, if you could read my paper, it looks like hieroglyphics of some sort. It's a bunch of letters and numbers followed by each other, but that's just the abbreviation of it. It does stand for, oh, are you late too? We're gonna wait for you to write this down.
Okay.
But so the title track for that album, that mini album, is No, N-O. And then we have their um, their next one, which is going to be School Love Affair, which the title track for that one is Boy in Love. So these three kind of go together as their school era. Um, a lot of their lyrics that they write, the music videos that they filmed, kind of follow the like feeling of frustration and angst that teenagers feel regarding school, everyday life, because pretty much all of them were teenagers during this time.
Yeah.
So that's what they focused on. Then technically not like I guess a part of the school trilogy, but their first full album that they had during this time, it was kind of in between this. We have Dark and Wild, which contained the songs, the title track of Danger, and then War of Hormones, and that's kind of the like era of 2013 to 2014. Moving on, we have the Youth Trilogy era, which happened between the years of 2015 to 2016. So this specific era is where the lore begins.
Okay.
I am not going to go into it right now.
Right now. Okay.
But I'm saying this is where lore starts and we will discuss later. But the kind of overall theme of this area is focusing on growing pains into young adulthood. A good about half of them have, at this point in BTS, are no longer teenagers. They have become adults, and that's kind of how they're depicting it. I will say, they do like this fictional storyline or this lore is not like fake. Like
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they wrote a whole book about it.
Oh,
not like
right.
a whole book, but they have like a notes page.
Yeah.
They discuss it, and it's the Bangtan universe, and it's not just us army being delusional. It's for real. Anyways, so the albums within this series, we have The Most Beautiful Moments in Life, Part 1, which was a mini album. And the title track for this one is I Need You, which, as we learned not too long ago, was the song that just absolutely exploded for BTS. It's what got them noticed. It's what got them, I'm pretty sure what won them album of the year, and it's really what started BTS's like traction upwards. It also includes the song Dope. And then we move on to The Most Beautiful Moments in Life Part 2. So there's two parts to it. It is another mini album, and that has the title track Run, the title track for the song. And then we move on to The Most Beautiful Moments in Life Young Forever, which is a compilation album of both part 1 and part 2. So we have the two mini albums together. And then there were music videos released along with title tracks such as Fire, Save Me, and Epilogue Young Forever. This is a great moment to also mention that they also do Japanese, I guess covers is the best way to say it, but they do re-record their songs in Japanese and occasionally write songs just in Japanese. So that's really fun. So moving on, we now have the years of 2016 to 2017, which is the Wings era. The BU storyline still continues. We're still growing up. And it's kind of like navigating temptation. If you watch the music video for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, you can kind of see it, how they're fighting with, I don't know, like an internal battle.
Yep.
But so in the Wings era, the first album is Wings itself, which Wings is made up of 7 solo songs for each members. So we have Begin, we have Lie, Stigma, First Love, Reflection, Mama, and Awake. I'm not going to ask you questions about these songs. Okay. I was just telling you.
I only got 4 of them.
I wish y'all could see how frantically Easton is writing. It's actually quite hilarious.
If they can hear my pen.
Just scribble. Anyways, so that's what Wings is, and then they have a title track song of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, as we just discussed. So the second album of this era is You Never Walk Alone. So it's kind of like a compilation album.
Okay.
Repackaging is kind of what it's called as well. But they added new songs. 2 of those songs are Spring Day and Not Today. Also had music videos as well. Okay. Spring Day was dedicated to a tragedy that happened. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's actually a really sad story, but
I'm just going to put a sad face.
Okay. Alrighty. So now, after the Wings era, we move on to 2017 to 2018, which is the Love Yourself era, which I say is probably one of the most, at least for me, one of the most iconic eras for BTS. They were really just on that incline, going up and out. But so the Love Yourself trilogy is made up of 3 different albums, which the fun part about the Love Yourself albums is each physical album has 4 different versions. And the reason why I bring this up, I feel like, is because I spent
years,
so long, and I didn't even complete the full set, because so as we'll discuss, there's 3 different albums, and they all each have 8.
They have 8?
They all each have 8 versions that spell out Love Yourself.
I thought that...
I just did it in a specific way, so I didn't have to spend $1 million on 8 of each color.
Okay. I get it now.
Anyways, so...
yeah, fun fact, I'm actually the one who found the last letter for you.
This is true. This is true information. So, Love Yourself. So the first Love Yourself mini album is Love Yourself Her. This album includes the solo track for Jimin, and then the 2 title tracks of DNA and Mic Drop. Really fun thing about Mic Drop is it's just a diss track to everybody else in the industry, talking about how we're so much better than you.
So true. I mean,
it's really great.
So true.
No, it's so good. I think one of the lines is, what is the line? It's talking about my bag is so heavy because of all the awards I have in it. Like, it's such an iconic song. I love it. Next album we have Love Yourself Tear. This studio album includes the solo tracks for JK, Jungkook, and V, with the title track of Fake Love. And then finally, we have Love Yourself Answer, which is a compilation of both Love Yourself Her and Tear, with then the solo track for Jin, and then the title track of Idol. And we are now going to move on, which I feel like personally is like the era kind of where Love Yourself was pretty iconic amongst Western areas, but I do think Map of the Soul 7, which is 2019 to 2020, is really when BTS was like taking off in more Western countries, like building off of what Love Yourself did. So there are two different albums in Map of the Soul 7. So the first one is a mini album, which is Map of the Soul 7 Persona, which includes the solo track for RM, and the title track is Boy with Love, which is actually the song that they collaborated with Halsey.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's super fun. And then we have Map of the Soul 7, which was their big studio album. It adds, on top of the 5 songs that was in Map of the Soul Persona, it adds 14 new songs. And that also includes the solo track for Suga and the solo track for J-Hope, along with Black Swan, which isn't the title track, but it's a beautiful piece. And then we have the title track, which is On, which, fun fact, is one of the first BTS songs I ever listened to. And it was like my favorite song. It is still one of my favorites. But Map of the Soul 7, as we can tell, 2019 to 2020 is kind of where things take a little skirt off the beaten path. Because as we know, I don't even think we need to talk about it. We all know what happened in 2020. But Map of the Soul 7 was their tour that got canceled because of COVID. And so, of course, that didn't stop them, though. They proceeded to have still more releases between 2020 and 2022, 2023. So this started with their single that they wrote, Dynamite, which
I've heard of that one.
Yes, Dynamite absolutely exploded. I
Dynamite.
don't even can't even fathom what happened. It is their first ever all English song, used to give energy to all of those who are currently being affected by COVID. And it was BTS' first Billboard hit to hit #1, and they got a Grammy nomination for it. Now, I'm not gonna say much about it because it makes me upset. I do believe they were robbed of that Grammy.
I know.
Unfortunately, I've talked about this before.
Well, we all have our opinions on the Grammys.
Yeah, that's true.
Grammys just happened at the time of this recording.
That is true. So, I will say I do think BTS should have won that Grammy nomination. Anyways, moving on. They did release, after that, a new album, which is called B. It has Dynamite and 6 new songs. The title track for this album is Life Goes On, which kind of talks about, everybody's struggling with COVID, but we got to live as best as we can. Which also did hit #1 on Billboard Hot 100 as well. Then we have a few more releases we have after that. So we have Butter, which, fun fact, that Butter is the first ever BTS album that I purchased. The first ever. Little did I know that was gonna send me into a deep black hole that I
that shelf.
That shelf, my shelf that I have in my room that has all of my albums on it isn't even nearly as expensive as some others that I've seen. So, anyways, we have Butter, then, which really fun. Had a remix come out with Megan Thee Stallion. We love her. Then we have
doxed if you say that.
Oh well. Oh well. Then we have Permission to Dance, which came after that. both songs hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and Butter also earned the group BTS another Grammy nomination. We don't need to talk about the Grammys because Grammys annoy me. Anyways, so also not my Grammy. If anybody wants to know, my grandmother goes by Grammy. I am not talking about you, Grammy. I know you're listening to this. I love you. Anyways,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Anyways, so they released those two, and then they also collaborated with Coldplay to release the song My Universe. And then another thing that they released during this like COVID time was a song called, or well, it's a Japanese compilation album with all of their biggest Japanese hits and a new single called Film Out. And then after that we have, which is so sad, the last group album that they released. I'll go into more of that later, but it's called Proof, which kind of like, well, first, the title track is yet to come, but Proof was released on their 10-year anniversary, and it's kind of just like a compilation of their just decade of
big comp
everything. So they had 3 different CDs. One of the CDs actually included different like demo tracks.
That's actually,
it's quite fun. I thoroughly enjoyed. The sad part about this album was it was to distract us. It was a ploy to distract us from the fact that they decided to that year reduce their amount of group activities, and they decided to all pursue solo careers for the time being, which was then actually just for them to tell us they were going to the military. And now they're all in the military.
Yeah.
And I'm sad. Anyways, Jin comes back in like 4 months though.
I know.
So I'm really excited. But so that's kind of like that's the whole discography of BTS, not including solo stuff.
Okay.
How many times have I said that? Someone needs to take a tally or go back and take a shot every time I said I'm going to talk about this in another episode.
Yeah. I think they get it.
I think they get it. I'm going to talk about it again at some point. Anyways, so I'm going to talk about some of my favorite BTS songs. I don't think I'm going to include solo stuff, even not like solo individual stuff. Like, I don't know if I'm going to talk about solo stuff that they did within BTS. I'm going to talk about my like favorite songs that they did as a whole. Or maybe I will. I haven't decided yet. But first, like I talked about earlier on, from the Map of the Soul 7. Yeah. Map of the Soul 7, one of my favorites. Also on the same album, I can't say it right. It's also a god, a Greek god.
Dionysus?
Yes!
See, that's how you had to phrase it to me.
I know. I can't say it right though. Also, another one of my favorites. They're just both bangers.
Okay, same album.
And then we are going to move on to, okay, I mean this in I'm not trying, in a way that doesn't make me seem like I'm just different. Their debut song, No More Dream, I love that song, okay? I love it. It's just so much fun. It's another one of those like bangers. But I'm trying not to be like, I'm trying not to be like, what is it, unironic? Like, I just love that song. What are some of my other favorite songs? Blood, Sweat, and Tears is another good one. It sounds like I'm just naming all of their, like, big ones. Anyways, 21st Century Girl.
Okay.
Anytime I think of that song, I'm, like, pretty sure they've only performed that song once. Okay? At least from what I've seen. And anytime I think of that song, I immediately have to pull up that video and watch it. Like, every time. Unless I'm in public and don't have the chance to, then I will most likely go home and watch it. Anytime. War of Hormones, which we talked about a little bit earlier, is also a really fun one. And then I'm trying to think of any more in particular that I really just love. Well, I guess I'll go into, because, like, the other ones that I really love are then moving on to, like, solo stuff that they did within BTS. So, like, obviously, I listen to anything by J-Hope.
Yeah, J-Hope.
He's my favorite. However, Epiphany, which is Jin's solo track in Love Yourself Answer, belts out beautiful notes. Let's see. Oh, Filter, Jimin slays that. He really does. I should show you that music video. Everybody, go and watch that music video because just iconic. Trying to think. That's kind of like the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Obviously, I love almost every song that I listen to. But that's kind of my, like, top ones. I think that's all I have for my, like, introduction to BTS. I loved talking about BTS. I love talking about BTS.
I know.
It's, like, my favorite thing to do. My sister gets really irritated. Because, like, I remember specifically once, quick story time before we go into quiz time. So I don't even remember which publication it was under, but someone had the opportunity to write a great article about BTS. Yeah. I did something absolutely stupid, and it was a terrible article.
Yeah.
And they were basically, like, I don't want to say snubbing, but it was a terrible first of all,
like, downplaying BTS.
I literally was reading it and was like, someone didn't proofread this either. Yeah. It's terrible. Anyways. So, but I remember being in the middle of reading that. It was probably like 10 o'clock at night, and I busted into Lauren's room, and I'm like, you need to listen to me read this. And I forced her to listen to me read it. So.
Wow, no wonder she doesn't like it.
Anyways. So, it is now question. Okay, folks. Right. After a brief intermission for me to write my questions.
And for me to count my pages of notes. There's 7.
7? I thought you said 5.
Hold on, let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, we are now ready for question time.
Okay, I'm really scared.
First question is, how many members are in the Hyung line and the Maknae line?
Okay. I know this now. I got it backwards originally. There's 4 in the Hyung line and 3 in the Maknae line. When I was writing up, like, my notes outline that I was gonna, like, fill in, I had it backwards. I thought, but I learned.
Yes, correct. Okay. What is BTS's debut track?
Oh, it's in here. It's your favorite. It's one of the No More Dream.
Yes. Slay. Okay. This next one is kind of, I wrote it down in case you couldn't get any of the other questions. It's called, name one of my favorite songs.
Oh, I literally wrote them all down. On Dionysus, I actually wrote Mr. D because I didn't know how to spell Dionysus for all my Percy Jackson fans out there. No More Dream, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, 21st Century Girl, War of Hormones, whichever song was the one that J-Hope did.
Oh,
because
there's a bunch of them.
I know, but I feel like you named one, and
I know Ego is one of them.
Okay.
That's the first one.
Anyway.
Good. Okay. Name one of the big 3 K-pop companies.
I actually did write that down. JYP?
Yep.
I wrote down 2 of them. I missed the other one.
This is a JYP hate account.
Okay. I'll put an angry face next to them. Okay.
Anybody can come for me, I'd say it again. I'd say it to his face. Okay, final question. What year did BTS win Album of the Year?
2016.
Yes! You got them all right!
I know. This is, I'm treating this like it's my final exam in a class. Like, this determines whether I graduate or not.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you everybody for listening to our second episode. I got to blab about BTS. Quick fun fact before I leave, my shelf that I was talking about, at least worth $800 at this point. I have so much BTS stuff.
Don't find our address, please.
Don't steal my BTS stuff, because I will actually cry forever. I will never recover. Anyways, please join us next week for another episode. I think we agreed next week we are gonna quiz each other.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we agreed to do that.
Yeah.
Quiz each other on each other.
So, exciting stuff. We're gonna see who knows each other more.
I'm actually really scared. Like, for real this time.
So, yeah. Stay tuned for next week's episode.
Bye.
Bye.